Hello, can you guys see me? Just let me know if I'm visible to you guys. Hello. Hi, Sai Harsh. Hi, Jeffrin. I hope you guys are able to see me. Yep. Okay, cool. So good to see all of you guys joining us for the stream. Yeah, I think, yeah, we are live. Okay. Hi, Krishna. Hi, Tina. Hi, Paulami. Hi, Sai Ashish. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Vijay. Everyone who's joining us. So nice to see all of you guys. And good to see so many people joining us today. Okay, thank you, Sai Harsh. I hope the videos were helpful to you, and I hope you are also practicing along with them. So keep solving. I hope that all of you guys are practicing diligently now that CAT is coming up. It's the last leg. I want to see all of you guys seeing videos and also solving a lot of questions. So good to see so many people come in. Good evening, Ashish. Good evening, Keval, Manali, all of those who are joining us. Very good to see all of you guys joining us, and good to see those who are on the site as well. Hi, Akarshit. So in this particular session, we'll be going through the VA questions, the para-summary questions, para-jumble questions, and OOC para-jumble questions. I basically give you the last minute tips for each. Most of you would have solved at least a few of them. You know basically how to go about it. But I will be giving you the actual exam day scenario, what to do when you're facing an exam question and you are not able to solve it. What should be your thinking when you're facing actual exam level questions. So good to see all of you guys over here. Hi Harsha, Nirmala and Mohammed. Hi Sayash. Okay. Good Sayash, if you're feeling confident, but keep practicing. Make sure that you keep the momentum up till November 20th. I want to see all of the students who come for Krakow students do exceedingly well this CAT. So I hope best of luck to everyone in their preparation, and make sure that you keep the momentum up. Keep gaining speed as you reach CAT day. Okay, so hello to everyone. So in this particular session, I'll be giving 9 questions, 3 para-summary questions, 3 para-jumbles, the classic para-jumbles, and 3 OOC para-jumbles. Good to see all of you guys over here. Those who are joining us on YouTube, please like the stream first. I want all of you guys to like the stream because it helps us quite a bit in reaching students. So if you haven't already done so, please like the stream. And please, if you have any friend group which is preparing for CAT, please share it with whoever is preparing for CAT. I see like there are like 129 people joining us and only 64 likes. Guys, please, whoever is watching, please like the stream. This helps us quite a bit in like holding more of these streams. So please like the stream. Also, if you have not already headed over, please head over to krakow.in/live. This is where the test will be. These 9 questions will be in the test format. So I want you to actually be ready with the pen and paper. You should be ready to solve. So essentially be prepared to top this quiz. I want all of you to give your best. And I hope that most of you are able to solve at least 70% of the questions. In this particular VA test, also check what your accuracy level is. I want most of you guys to have 70% accuracy overall. So good to see everyone who is joining us. Whoever has not already liked the stream, guys, please like the stream. And whoever has not went over to krakow.in/live, please type in krakow.in/live. This is where the test is going to be, and this is where the questions are going to appear in the test format. So basically, if you open krakow.in/live, you will see the YouTube window over here, and here you will see the questions appear. Initially, before the question is posted, there would be nothing below the YouTube window, but as the questions get posted, you will start seeing questions below it. Okay, so good to see everyone who is over here. So okay, Shubham, motivation, what can I do to motivate you? Basically, think of it in this way. You have the days that you have in your hand are the most precious thing in your hand. They are the difference between achieving your dream and not achieving your dream. And you should treat them as the precious things that you have right now. Time is the most precious thing you have. Make sure that you derive the most out of each day from now till CAT. That's all that you should think of, not where you start from, but how much benefit you derive from the next 15 days. That next 15 days, if you focus and if you completely crack it, I'm sure you'll crack CAT. Okay, how to improve scores in the last 2 weeks. Gaurav, I would suggest the best thing to do in the last 2 weeks is that you sit down, you lock yourself up for extended periods of time, so like 3 hours, 4 hours, and you just keep solving. That's like, you should become like an automaton when it comes to solving. Firstly, it will enable you to sit for extended periods of time and solve, which is very important, because CAT is 2 hours, but that 2 hours will like exhaust you. So you need to have that stamina to sit and solve for extended periods of time. It will also expose any issue that you face, immediately like keep like the concept notes ready or Kraku open, etc. Whenever you see that, okay, I don't know this concept, I don't know this formula, just open that concept video, revise that formula and move forward. If you keep doing that, if you just practice like crazy for the next 2 weeks, I'm sure you'll be able to crack CAT. What should be an ideal attempt in RCs? Akash, basically depends on your strengths. So if RC is your strength, I would say go for all 4 RCs. If VA is your strength, go for 3 RCs plus VA. Depends on what your strength is. Ideally, if you can, attempt everything, but if not, do what you are best at first. Make sure that you attempt that first, and then what you have less accuracy in later. Okay, so those who are joining us, those who have I see a lot of people on the chat room. So guys, 168 people who are joining us on the stream and only 126 likes. Please guys, like the stream, and also head over to kraku.in/live. Please like the stream. Those who are on website also, please like the stream, because it helps us quite a bit in reaching more students. So please like the stream and please share it with whoever is preparing for CAT. And please head over to kraku.in/live. I'll be posting the first question in exactly 3 minutes. So whatever questions you have as far as VA is concerned, please put those queries. I'll be trying to solve it while I give you some time to actually answer the question. Okay, so if we solve the most perfect questions, which we know would be better if we're going for those we don't know, resulting in negative marking. Aditya, it depends on what your accuracy level is. If your accuracy level is 80%, roughly 80%, then you should go for it. It's never a good thing to keep second guessing yourself, especially when it comes to VA. You have to trust your gut and you have to trust your instinct at some point of time, because you will feel rotten even if you come out of the exam hall and you knew an answer and you didn't pick it. You would feel bad that way also. So you have to back yourself a bit. But having said that, if you have consistently poor accuracy in, say, para summary, or if you have very poor accuracy in some type of RCs, for example abstract RCs, I would say go for it as the last option. Leave it for the very last, so that you that is not something that takes up any of your time as such. Okay, so we'll first start with the para summary. I'll give you a basic overview and I'll give you the first question. So when it comes to para summary, I know most of you know how to write down the main point, the main gist, identifying what is the core of the paragraph as such. But in many para summary questions, what you think is the right option might not be one of the options that is given, or there might be 2 options that are very close to each other. In para summary, remember, you should always have a list of things that must be included and what are the things which are extraneous to the main point. If you are able to separate the paragraph into the heart of the paragraph and the details of the paragraph, it will help you quite a bit in finding out the right option. So for example, if you have a paragraph which is a if you say that you're reading a paragraph about a movie review, and the movie review basically if you condense it down to the fact that the movie was a good one, but the author, like the reviewer, did not like it because parts of it are plagiarized. Basically, you have to find that the correct option will have that main complaint that, okay, there is a plagiarism problem with this, even though the quality of the movie is good. So that will be at the heart of it. What movie it has plagiarized, what are the scenes that are copied, what are good aspects of it, what are bad aspects of it, would be the details part. So whatever is the core message, you should be able to separate the core message from the details. The minute you are able to do that, you will know that, okay, this option does not have the core message, this option does not have this part of the core message, but it has these details instead. So once you start finding out in the paragraph, even if you're not able to find your perfect option, at least the option that you pick should have most of the core message and the lesser part of the details. So find the option. Probably won't be a perfect option. Find the option which has the most part of the core message and the least part of details. That is what you should go in when you go in for para summary. Remember, it won't be perfect. You will not have 100% right answer. This is definitely the answer. That kind of instinctive reaction will not be there. But that is okay, because when you have that adrenaline and you're going in an actual cat kind of scenario with the pressure, it is very difficult to think clearly. In hindsight, it will be clear, but then there it won't be very clear. So that is okay. There will be uncertainty involved. Okay, maybe this, maybe this. Just go with what captures most of your core message, and that would be the right answer. Okay, with that, I'll post our first question. Those who have, I'll be posting it in the first, in 10 seconds. So I see a lot of people who are there on YouTube but not on krakow.in/live. So please head over to krakow.in/live. I'll be posting the first question now. Okay. Those who have not already liked the stream, please like the stream. Please, it helps us quite a bit in reaching students. So guys who have not already liked the stream, please like the stream now. Okay, I'll be trying to answer some of the questions that are there. I'll just push this up slightly so that more people are able to see the question. I think this is just the option D. But don't try to solve it from here. Just go over to krakow.in/live where it will be in the question format. So most para summary questions would be long. So to read it from here would be slightly difficult. Please head over to krakow.in/live. There it would be easier for you to solve the question. Best of luck for everybody. What can be done to push VARC score from 5 to 6 to 10 plus, since there's a huge percentage drop because of VARC? Pramukh, basically you will need more practice then. Also see what works for you, because these are three very different things. It's not the same thing. I feel generally the accuracy when it comes to para summary is the best, because there I feel the amount of mistakes that you can make are lesser. Para jumbles also I feel are, for me, I have a better accuracy in para jumbles than in OOC, which is actually unlikely, because when you have like 4 factorial combinations possible, your accuracy is expected to be lower. But generally the paragraphs there are actually easier for me to unscramble than OOC. Sometimes OOC I get tripped up. So you have to figure out which part, what is your accuracy in which part. Then you focus on improving in those particular aspects. These are 3 different things, and you have to measure each of those accuracies separately. So go back to your mocks, see what was your accuracy in each part, and see what you have to focus on. Even if you have to actually just focus on para summaries, that's 9 questions, right? 9 marks right there. OOC para jumbles and para jumbles, no matter what happens, just attempt something. See, if there are 3 para jumbles, OOC para jumbles, it is a free option, right? You put anything from 1 to 5, each one of them is 20%. So 60% chance that 80.8 into 0.8 again would be, I think, 0.5. There's 51% chance that you will get no mark. Mostly you'll 49% chance that you'll get at least something right. Now basically in that kind of a scenario, you should never leave those questions unattempted, which means that no matter what happens, you should just put in some value over there as such, which means don't leave anything unattempted. You will get some marks somewhere from OOC para jumbles, and also probably from para jumbles, but the chance there is lower. So Aditya is asking that there is a sudden drastic drop in his scores. What should be done to keep the this going? So check why your mock scores essentially dropped. Was it because you were basically what happens? One thing that happens a lot during with students in the last part of the run up is that they start taking too many mocks, a mock every single day. When you start taking too many mocks, your score, accuracy, everything is going to drop, because you are not able to give it the requisite amount of importance or seriousness. The seriousness of how you take the exam also decreases, and that shows in your scores. So see whether you're taking it seriously, you're taking it when you are able to take it, as in you have the required amount of rest and mental space to actually take that exam. Then see what is going wrong in that particular exam. Basically, are you not able to understand the paragraph? Are you getting confused between two clause options? In VA, are you not able to understand or give time to VA section? Where exactly is the problem? You have to understand and identify the problem. Most of the time, many people just start taking a mock every single day. Don't do that. You need rest also. If you start taking a mock every single day in the last 1 month, your mock scores are going to plummet. So if that is a mistake you're doing, don't do that. Thank you, Firoz, and thank you for everybody who actually if you have been helped by Kraku, that means a lot to us. Basically, we started off essentially to try to help as many students as possible, and you will see that in how we price the products and how much emphasis we give to making sure our students are able to succeed. So if we are able to help you, it means like the world to us. So thank you very much for your praise. Okay. Okay, so this was a previous CAT question, so you can say that this is exactly CAT 11, and I am very happy to see many of you were able to solve this question. 47 of you still got it wrong, but it's not a bad thing. Just remember, this is the kind of paragraphs which generally trip you up. It was not an easy read. For when I also read that paragraph, I like the first 2-3 sentences I had to go back and read again, because I was like, what is this paragraph? Because it is not something that is immediately comes to you and is easy read as such. So when you have something like that, be very, very focused. If needed, go back and read with like more concentration. So let's see the paragraph again. A fundamental property of language is that it is slippery and messy and more liquid than solid, a gelatinous mass that changes shape to fit. As Wittgenstein would remind us, usage has no sharp boundary. Oftentimes, the only way to determine the meaning of the word is to examine how it is used. So what is the first 3 lines basically telling us? It is telling us that language is not a fixed thing. It's not a hard, solid, well-defined thing. It is in fact a very fluid thing. And the only way for us to understand the meaning of the words is to see the context in which it is used. This insight is often described as the meaning is used doctrine. There are differences between the meaning is used doctrine and a dictionary first theory of meaning. The dictionary's careful fixing of words to definitions like butterflies pinned under glass can suggest that this is how language works. The definitions can seem to ensure and fix the meaning of words, just as a gold standard can back a country's currency. What Wittgenstein found in the circulation of ordinary language, however, was a free-floating meaning of currency of meaning. The value of each word arises out of exchange. The lexicographer abstracts a meaning from that exchange, which is then set within the conventions of the dictionary definition. So you see a curious example over here. So what is the initial part? That language is fluid. There is every word. To understand the word, you have to understand the context. And then the author basically introduces the main theory, which is the meaning is used doctrine. To understand the meaning of the word, you have to see how it is used. This is then contrasted with the dictionary first method, where the dictionary tells you that this word means something this. But that is not the case. The dictionary will tell you that this word has this fixed meaning. But in actual life, what you see is that the meaning of a word is derived from the context it is used in. Now, the author then gives you a similarity as such. Now, dictionary first basically method is like having fixed value. Fixed value basically means that like you have your currency system where you have the gold standard. It basically says that this thing has X value as defined by convention. But what is actually the case, that what is the fixed value or fixed meaning is never what is necessarily what is the value in the market. As you have free value of exchange, the value in the market might be different from the fixed value as such. Now the whole currency bit is basically just a example to explain. It is not core to the idea. What is core to the idea? The core part of the paragraph is this difference between meaning is used doctrine and the dictionary first method. And basically the author says that there is language is fluid. This dictionary first method gives you the idea that your dictionary, the definition or the use or meaning of the word is fixed in a dictionary, and then you have to use it as it is defined in a dictionary. But what do you actually see? That is not the case. The meaning is set by how it is used. And in fact, what happens in general life is that based on how it is used, that is basically abstracted and put into dictionary. So that flow is not from dictionary to actual life, but from actual life to dictionary. Now once you understand the core concepts, what is the extra or details? The whole currency bit is details. The part where you have butterflies pinned under glass is also details. These are essentially descriptive parts. Descriptive parts are not part of the core message. They are essentially, you have to remove them immediately because they are not part of the core message. The core part is the difference between the meaning is use and dictionary first, and the author is saying that actual life has meaning is use is actually what is the case and not dictionary first. So if you absorb that, then you can go on and find out the correct option. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at the options. Dictionary definitions are like gold standards: artificial, theoretical, and dogmatic. Actual meaning of words is in their free exchange value. Now essentially over here, that entire that example is given too much emphasis. The point is not that that this is the gold standard, this is artificial, theoretic, and dogmatic. In fact, what is the dictionary definition is often abstracted from how it is actually used in life. So that part is also missing. That is, then whatever you have actually seen in use is abstracted away and in fact put in dictionary. So the author, what the author was trying to point out, that meaning is use is actually the case, and in fact from there flows the dictionary definitions to an extent. This misses that interconnectedness of those two parts. So, and also it emphasizes too much on something which is extraneous to the message as such. So because it misses most of the core message and focuses on the details, I can eliminate option A. Now let's take a look at option B. Language is already slippery. Again, is slippery part of the core message? No. There you have to be very clear what is the core message. Whenever you see that any unnecessary info is given, you have to be on your this is not really needed. What is the core message is the how words derive their meaning. Words derive their meaning from use, not from definition or dictionary definitions. In fact, from use you get the dictionary definition. Given this, accounting for meaning and use will only exacerbate the problem. That is why lexicographers fix meanings. This whole part, this part over here, this part that you should not use meaning and use will actually worsen the problem. Has it been given anywhere in the passage, anywhere in the paragraph? Nowhere. The minute you read that, exasperate the problem. Not at all given, completely extraneous to the discussion. Very easy to actually remove this as eliminate this option. C is meaning is dynamic, definitions are static. The meaning and use theory helps us understand that definitions of words are culled from their meaning in exchange and not used vice versa. So this is telling you, this is the meaning and use theory versus definitions in dictionary, and how one flows into the other. Meaning and use flows into the dictionary, and words do not have a static meaning. To understand how they are used, you have to consider the context in which they are used in. Captures the core message, does not have any of the extraneous discussion of the currency, of the language being fluid, and any of the other extraneous things are absent. Only the core message is reworded and put, and because of that, this is the right option. Also, let's take a look at option D. The meaning of words in dictionaries is clear, fixed, and less dangerous and ambiguous than the meaning that arises when words are exchanged between people. Firstly, this part, less dangerous and ambiguous. These are not there in the actual paragraph. More importantly, this the fact that meaning in use is the actual meaning, that it is how things actually are versus how they are in the dictionary, as in real life versus how it is in the dictionary. That contrast is never drawn in this particular and it is very core to the actual message of the paragraph. So again, C is the right answer. When you have a very good whole of what is the core message, make sure that your option has that core message. Anything which has the same words, same examples, same logical format, anything of that but not the core message, you can safely remove. In fact, if you are like a paper setter, that is what you will do. Put in the words from the paragraph, sounds about right but is wrong. That is the way that paper setters generally go about finding the wrong options. You can't make a completely wrong option, right? For the wrong option, you will use some things from the paragraph. The first part will be right, but the second part will be wrong. All of these are essentially traps that as a paper setter, you know that they will be putting. So you also have to think like, okay, if I were a paper setter, I would just put in some words from the paragraph to make it sound like the right option. So always be careful of any option which has verbatim questions or phrases from the paragraph. Likely that it is a trap set by the paper setter. Okay, so let's go over to the next question, para-summary question. This is a tricky one. Most of you will be a bit at sea with this one, but it is important that you are able to solve this. This is also, next one is also a past CAT paper. So best of luck. I hope you are able to do it. Those who have not already liked the stream, guys, I see 200 people on the stream, 211 and only 193 likes. Guys, please like the stream. It would mean the world to us if you are able, if you like the stream, and it will help us quite a bit. Okay. Also, if you have not gone already, please go to krakow.in/live. The test is going on in krakow.in/live, and please answer the test in actual test format. That would help you a lot in like understanding where you stand with versus your peers. There are like hundreds of people taking the test. So it is very important to actually take it in the test format. Okay. So what is the least number of questions to attempt to get 90% in VARC? It changes a lot. You can't really give a number, but I would say that see, don't try to target the lower end. I think the safe target would be 3 RCs plus at least 3 VA questions. If not, I would say all VA questions. I think going under 3 RCs is a bit of a risk. Many people do 2 RCs plus VA, entire VA. But I feel that that is very risky, because if you get any RC wrong or the accuracy in one RC is wrong, then you will be like very kind of in a very bad zone at that point. So I would say at least 3 RCs is something that you should do to be on the safer side, plus as many VA as you can. Also remember that in VAs, para-jumbles, OC para-jumbles have no negative marking. So whether you are able to solve it or not, you should attempt it. You should put in some numbers by default, because it's like a free option that you have. It's not going to cost you anything to actually attempt. So whatever happens, make sure that OOC para-jumbles and para-jumbles you attempt to put in something. Particularly OOC para-jumbles, because there's a 20% chance you'll get it right. So always make sure that you attempt something, put in something in OOC para-jumbles and para-jumbles. Harshika, don't worry, you can catch back in 15 days. There is nothing to worry about. But essentially, even if you take a small break, that is not going to actually make or break your attempt. But if you had a good habit like reading every day, continue that habit. That essentially means that that is something that works for you. It keeps you in that zone to think of VARC questions. It's not that you have lost any practice or anything, any ability as such, but that daily habit was keeping that keeping it smooth as it was keeping your attempt easy as such. So go back to that, make sure you keep reading daily, and also solve quant questions and DILR sets every day. Don't focus exclusively on one section and ignore other sections. That's never a good idea. But if you are weak in quant, spend 30 minutes on VA, 30 minutes on DILR, and then say 1 hour on quant. So if you have 2 hours, you give 50% of time to quant, and then 25-25 to DILR and VARC. If quant is really weak, so you shouldn't be like 0% to VARC and DILR and 100% to quant. So Firoz, you're right. When you don't know, you should not attempt, because if you are guessing, your accuracy will drop. That is true, but essentially in those cases, see, we will have to attempt a little bit in areas. If you have poor RC and poor VA, then what are you going to do? You can't not attempt everything, right? There is a minimum attempt you have to do. So in that case, is basically you have to find which areas you are strongest in. So in those cases, if you have absolutely no idea, then don't attempt. Especially when there is negative marking, don't attempt. If you have absolutely zero idea, don't take wild guesses. But in things where you have some idea, you have to actually focus on getting better of the two options. That often happens in RCs where you have basically a 50% chance. With parasummary, sometimes all 4 summaries seem possible. Then you have a very poor chance, and maybe in those particular cases, you should not attempt. But in most RC questions, you see that, okay, you have like 50-50 chance. You have removed 2 options, eliminated 2 options, and you are confused between 2 options. That I feel is a risk worth taking, because it is +3 -1 types. So if it is any one of the 4 options, don't do. If you are fairly certain it is one option and not the other between 2 options, I would say still go for it, because you have to, at the end of the day, you have to have a minimum amount of attempt also. Okay, guys. So Sufyan, if your vocabulary is weak, and this is something that a lot of people struggle with, there'll be like some phrases that you don't understand, okay? Some parts of the paragraph you don't understand. Just ignore that part. The entire meaning of the paragraph doesn't change from 1 or 2 words. If you are understanding the rest of the paragraph, that is fine. Just omit those particular words, don't take into consideration, because essentially the point is made not once but 2-3 times in the paragraph. If you consider the last question, that the language is fluid, meaning in use is more important than dictionary definition, there were some parts even if you omitted, the message would remain the same. Like for example, butterflies under glass. If you omitted that entire line, would the message of the paragraph change? Not at all. Because in any paragraph, the point is made not once but several times. So if you are not able to understand a phrase, a idiom, anything of that, just omit it. Because the rest of the paragraph will also tell you what the message is. So don't worry if you get tripped up by a few words or a few phrases. Ignore them. The rest of the paragraph is good enough for you to understand what is going on in that paragraph. Okay, let's take a look at the this. So we have this, I feel was a difficult question, and I understandably fewer people got this right as compared to others, but still I am glad that many of you did get it right. Okay, so let's see how to actually solve this particular question. So the question is, the conceptualization of landscape as a geometric object first occurred in Europe and is historically related to the European conceptualization of the organism, particularly the human body, as a geometric object with parts having rational 3-dimensional organization and integration. So what exactly is given over here? The idea is that when did the conceptualization of landscape as a geometric object first start? When did it first start? It started in Europe, and it was related to how human body was considered as a geometric object. It was closely related to that idea. The European idea of landscape appeared before the science of landscape emerged, and it is no coincidence that Renaissance artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, who studied the structure of the human body, also facilitated an understanding of the structure of the landscape. Landscape, which has been the subordinate background to religious or historical narratives, became an independent genre or subject of art by the end of the 16th century or the beginning of the 17th century. If you see, the entire paragraph revolves around how landscape, the conceptualization of landscape, how did it actually come about? So firstly, that it came about, people started thinking of it as a geometric object first in Europe. Then you see that this the European idea of it appeared before the scientific idea appeared. The scientific idea is that it is a geometric object. The European idea of it as a art form appeared before, and was facilitated by the Renaissance artists. And this thing which was earlier relegated to the background, the landscape which was earlier relegated to the background, now became an independent genre or subject around that time, when the Renaissance artists essentially facilitated in the understanding of the structure and landscape. So essentially around that time, what happened with the landscape or landscape as an art area is essentially discussed. How did it become to the forefront? Who helped in its discovery? what exactly changed, and the European idea of it came before the scientific idea of it. So the core message is about how this change occurred in how the landscape was viewed around that time, which is around the Renaissance time. So now that you understand that the core focus is on this change in how landscape was viewed and how it the idea of it developed as such, now you can take a look at the options. The three-dimensional understanding of the organism in Europe led to a similar approach towards the understanding of the landscape. Now if you see this option, it is pitting the understanding of the organism at equal importance with the understanding of the landscape. But does the paragraph give equal importance to A and B? No, because the organism part was just given to like show how it was related to the concept of landscape, which is primary. Concept of the landscape is the most important part of it. So saying A and B are at equal level, is that right? Absolutely not. That is a clear distortion. The focus is not on both of these things, but clearly on one of these things. So this is incorrect. Landscape became a major subject of art at the turn of the 16th century. But how? How did it become just a major subject of art? And what essentially was the change essentially that occurred? It didn't become a major subject of art. Not a major subject of art. It became an independent genre. When you say a major subject of art, you are saying that it became one of the primary movers of art or one of the biggest subjects. But in fact, that is not what is given. It is given that it was initially relegated to the background, but it came to the forefront. It became an independent genre of art, which is very different from what is given over here. It didn't become a major subject of art. It became an independent genre of art. So because of that, there's a distortion here also. The study of landscape as an independent genre was aided by the Renaissance artists. This is telling you that there was a change in how it was viewed and who helped bring about this change. And it also tells you when this occurred. If Renaissance artists brought about this change, it occurred around that time. So it gives you a lot of idea of how exactly things occurred. D is Renaissance artists were responsible for the study of landscape as a subject of art. Now firstly, the focus is not about their contribution. It is on the study of landscape as an art. And essentially they were not responsible, they aided in it. They were not solely responsible for it. So D also gets the responsibility part wrong. See, in this I would not say C is a very clear or very perfect answer. In fact, I would not say it's a very good summary at all. But of the given options, C is a much better summary because it is distortion free. B has a distortion, D has a distortion, A has a distortion. C is the only one which is distortion free. So because it is distortion free, even though it is not perfect, it does not capture the core message properly, still just on the fact that it is distortion free, I would say C is the right answer. B and C are both very close. Both of it get to the close to the core subject, which is introducing how landscape became a independent genre of art, what led to its idea or conceptualization, around what time it became. All of those things are very core to the subject as such. But B essentially hints at it, but it contains a distortion. Therefore, the right answer is C. In this kind of a case, I would be kind of torn between B and C. But essentially, it is very like, it's a small difference, right, between independent to major. If you can see that distortion, you would get the right answer. Okay, so posting the next question, guys. Best of luck. Okay, Ptolemy, why isn't D the right answer? D is not the right answer. See, basically, it got the responsibility part of it wrong. What was given in the paragraph was that the Renaissance artists facilitated in its emergence or as an idea. They were not sole drivers of it. So essentially, when you say that the landscape artist belonged only to the Renaissance artists or the Renaissance artists made it what it is, would be incorrect, because essentially they would be the ones who started it or who facilitated its emergence. But obviously from the paragraph you can infer that there were other artists who essentially led to it. So you can't say that these guys were at the were responsible for making it into a genre of art or a subject or its study. They founded its study of art as such. So because of the change degree of credit is the distortion over there. Sorry. So Anju is saying, "Mere questions sahi hote tum." Okay. So basically, Anju, you have to back yourself at some point of time, because it is if you keep on second guessing yourself, it will become very difficult to choose any option. I'll just make this. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you have to pick one option. You have to back yourself and say that, yeah, I think this is the right option as per my best knowledge. You have to back yourself. Many times, many people, whenever they are actually low on confidence, their accuracy drops because they keep second guessing themselves. When you trust your instinct, you would actually have a more gut reaction to things. When you react instinctively, your accuracy actually improves. So listen to your gut when you feel that, okay, now this is changing the meaning slightly. Subconsciously, you know that that option is wrong. So trust yourself, back yourself. If you make a mistake, that's fine. Don't take it as that RC nahi jamta ya VA nahi jamta. Don't feel that this is not something you can't do, because essentially all of you guys can do this. And I'm sure that if you back yourself with enough practice, your accuracy will also get better. So don't get into that negative headspace. Distortion in A, Gaurav. So the distortion in A was that, okay, over here, no, essentially it was basically saying that both of these things were equals, equal importance when it comes to both the organism and the art of concept of landscape were equal. And it is not that this led to the concept of the landscape. The core part is that how the idea of landscape came about. It is kind of owes its emergence to that idea of geometric idea of the organism, but it is also separate. That was essentially just the introduction. After that, you had all this idea of how and when it came about. So when you peg it only to the first part, and mostly when you have that, okay, A and B are equal importance. This A led to B. A and B are of equal importance. The paragraph should also show that A and B were of equal importance. If it doesn't show that A and B were of equal importance, especially when you have two ideas, idea A and idea B, if the paragraph is only about idea B essentially, then that option is wrong. Because when the option says that idea A led to idea B, if the wording is that way, then the paragraph should have equal weightage or at least equal footage for both ideas. So if the paragraph is entirely about one idea and not the other, then that option is wrong. Paris, you can't solve only VN exam. You will be, there will be like, the attempt will be too little. You have to solve at least 2 RCs by default. Without solving RCs, it will be very, very difficult to actually crack the VA section. So no option there. You have to solve at least 2 RCs at the bare minimum. Okay, so guys who have not yet liked the stream, guys, please like the stream. It would mean a lot to us. And let's see if you guys were able to solve this particular question. So I see that most of you got this correct. This is on the whole an easier question than this. Also, if you start seeing what is in the what is supposed to be in the paragraph and what is supposed to be in the right option, you get to the answer pretty quickly. So let's see the paragraph first. Local communities have often come in contact with agents trying to exploit resources at a faster pace for an expanding commercial industrial economy. More often than not, such agents of resource intensification are given preferential treatment by the state through the grant of generous long leases over mineral or fish stocks, for example, for the provision of raw material at an enormously subsidized price. With the injustice so compounded, local communities are at the receiving end of this process have no recourse except direct action, resisting both the state and outside exploiters through a variety of protest techniques. These struggles might perhaps be seen as a manifestation of a new kind of class conflict. This is a difficult to read passage or paragraph, but this is easy to understand because this is something that we all know about. For example, if you think of it in a mining kind of a scenario, what is the agents who try to exploit resources at a faster pace? Basically, those who want to mine everything, want to destroy the forest and mine at a crazy pace. And the government actually helps those people, in fact, putting the local communities at risk. So the local communities feel that this is injustice and then they have no option other than protesting. Or you think of another thing which is given, which is like fishing. So there will be shipping companies who try to ship and catch all fishes in a particular area. But if you do that, it affects the local fishing community, right? And the state actually helps those big fishing companies or big fishing trawlers to do that and putting the local communities at a disadvantage. And this conflict, okay, this conflict between the state, the these massive corporations or whoever is mining, these actors, agents who are exploiting resources enabled by the state versus these local communities who are protesting. This has resulted in a new kind of a class conflict. This conflict can be called as a new kind of a class conflict. So if you understand that and relate it with things that you know, it would be easier for you to understand which would be the wrong option. A new kind of class conflict arises from preferential treatment given to agents of resource intensification by the state, which the local community sees as unfair. So what part does it miss over here? The class conflict does not arise from the preferential treatment. The class conflict essentially arises from the protest or the direct action taken by the local community to protest the actions of these resource exploiters aided by the state. It is the protest which is the first form of conflict, because without the protest you don't have any conflict. You have people exploiting the resources and the guys who are affected by it. The conflict starts with the protest. This misses that, and this gets the conflict is not from the preferential treatment. The injustice is the preferential treatment. The conflict is from the protest. So this gets that wrong. So you have to try to convert this into simple speak. Is the class conflict the fact that they get preferential treatment, or is the class conflict from the fact that there will be like these two communities will be at loggerheads? The class conflict comes from the fact that these two communities are at loggerheads. The grant of long leases to agents of resource intensification for an expanding commercial industrial economy leads to the direct protest from local community, which sees it as unfair. Now basically when you have this, when I read this part only, I knew that this was wrong. Why? Because it is not about long leases. It is just basically changing the rules to favor these guys. It doesn't matter whether it is in the form of long leases or it is in the form of giving subsidized raw material. Those are essentially details or examples. The key point is that the state actually helps the resource exploiters and indirectly puts the local communities at a disadvantage. How the state helps is immaterial. The fact is that the state helps these guys. So whenever you see an unnecessary detail over here, you can directly eliminate it, because that is not core to the discussion. So A and B were easy to eliminate. Let's see option C. Preferential treatment given by the state to agents of resource intensification for an expanding commercial industrial economy exacerbates injustice to local communities and leads to direct protest from them, resulting in a new type of class conflict. Gets everything. It gets the entire scenario. Firstly, that these guys are resource exploiting. The government is actually giving them preferential treatment. This leads to perceived injustice by the local communities who start protesting, and this protest is the form of the new class conflict. Gets the entire series of events right. There is no distortion, no part which is missing. It is complete. There is nothing missing in this particular summary. So I would say this would be the right answer. Okay. Let's take a look at the last option. Local communities have no option but to protest against agents of resource intensification and create a new type of class conflict when they are given raw material at subsidized prices for an expanding. So who is given the raw material at subsidized prices and create a new? No, essentially the whole point, look at that sentence, it is so confused. So it is not easy to understand who is given the raw material at subsidized prices. But the point is not about raw material at subsidized prices, right? This part is the same as the long leases. Both of them were examples of preferential treatment. And it is not that they have no option but to protest. It is essentially that they have to protest injustice. They have no option to protest, no. They are protesting injustice against these agents. And the entire, basically, if you see the modifiers, they are like placed haphazardly. It's difficult to tell what is being modified over here. For an for expanding commercial industrial economy, this is done by the resource intensification. This part should be over here. This part should be given as preferential treatment. This is done by these guys, not by the local communities. The entire modifier sentence is like completely haphazard over there. But there are many things which are wrong, which are apart from the sentence formation also. There are many things which are wrong, which are basically the fact that the government is giving preferential treatment. That is helping these guys exploit the resources, which is completely missing over here. And the local communities are protesting, and this has the start of a new class conflict. That is basically, and it's not, they have no option to create a new type of class conflict. The class conflict results from the protest. They are not creating the class conflict. It is a inadvertent result of the protest. Many of the things, just the way it is formed, is they are just distortions of the actual intended meaning. So if you just try to understand the sentence also, you will know that the sentence itself, the way it is formed and phrased, everything is wrong about it. So from that we can see that the right option is option C. Okay guys, let's go to the next question. Vedant, please don't spam, you're spamming both these YouTube as well as this. If you want a question, just please post a question, don't actually spam the chat this. So posting the next question, hope you guys are able to solve it. If you guys have not yet liked the stream, please like the stream, and please it helps us a lot in reaching more students. So guys, please like the stream. Okay, I hope most of you are able to solve this one. Okay, I would say it's not, it is true that if it is describing too much of the para, you should remove it, but I am talking about details. So when you say, okay, preferential treatment should be there, but how it is doing that preferential treatment, through long releases, through raw materials, that should not be there, because essentially the summary should capture the core of the message, but not the details. So if you say that this is injustice, how it is that injustice should not be there. They are giving preferential treatment, that should be there, but how they are doing that preferential treatment or why they are doing that preferential treatment should not be there. The detailed part of it should not be there. The core part, that is what is actually happening. If you see that paragraph, it was describing something. What is the event that is occurring? What is causing this? So because of that, option C essentially put everything, the events that were occurring. Now you can say that you don't need all of the events as such, but nothing extraneous to the events was given. All the events that should be there were there. You can say that you can cut it a bit, where you say that basically the class conflict is a minor point. The main point is that local communities feel the injustice, and the only recourse left to them is to protest against these agents of resource exploitation. That is very, very core, that cannot be removed. Preferential treatment is like minor, same as the class conflict is minor. You could remove those points without actually changing that it was a valid summary. But if you remove the fact that they have to protest, then it becomes invalid. So I would say you can definitely shorten it a bit by removing the class conflict part, by removing the preferential treatment part, because they are less important than the core message. So again, you can cut it down, but I would say that the others were distortions. Always remember, the first elimination that you have to do is of distortions. A distorted option cannot be the right one by default. So if you know that there's a distortion there, by default it is the wrong one. It doesn't matter whether A has more information than B, it is longer than B, it has extraneous details. Extraneous details should not be there, but that option is definitely better than a distorted option. Okay. Okay, sorry, Parth, what did you ask over here? I think, can you just please ask that again? I didn't see the question. Parth, I'm sorry, I'm not able to find your question in the chat box. Can you please post it again? I'll try to answer that question. And I hope the video is not buffering. I just saw that. If it is, if there's any issue with the video, please let me know so that I can restart this. Okay, guys, don't put the messages answers here. Just put it in the actual test. So if you have not already headed over, please go to krakow.in/live. The test is going on over there. Please post the questions, answers to the questions over there. Do not post it in chat. While return, we should not compare that we weren't able to do it earlier. That, yeah, essentially, Ratul, that is very true. Essentially, when the time bound is not there, you will also know whether you didn't know a concept or it was just the time pressure that was acting on you. Many times 70% of the mistakes come from time pressure rather than not knowing a concept. So if you don't know a concept, it is easier, because then you just go and actually review that concept, and then you know that you won't make that mistake again. Time pressure mistakes are something that it is very difficult to overcome, because the time pressure is going to be there in next mock also. The only thing you can really actually improve is your mental stamina, your ability to handle pressure. That is the only thing. So just keep practicing taking mocks on a regular basis, and even solving other apart from mock. That ability to absorb pressure, time pressure will come slowly over time. You will be able to handle your nerves on CAT day through practice. Nothing else will actually help you as much as practice will. Sorry, Swarnashi. Okay. Very low in VARC marks, but getting most of them correct while reattempting. How to increase accuracy? So that's a whole thing, right? When you are reattempting it, it's the time pressure is not there, as Ratul said. Because the time pressure is not there, you are able to read. I know this, a lot of people have this anxiety and fear of mocks, fear of exams also. So when you are actually reading the paragraph, you're not even able to read it properly, because you have this clock ticking down in your mind, and your half of your mind is on the clock rather than on the paragraph. And once that pressure is lifted, you are able to read, you are able to understand. Now that nerves, that pressure, that it's going to be, I don't mean to scare you, but it is going to be much worse on actual CAT day, because that is no longer a mock. The only way you have to, the only thing you can do is accept that there will be time pressure, accept that you will be nervous, you will have these nerves, and you just have to think of how to actually handle them. See, remember that you are nervous, so are your, everyone who is actually giving that exam with you will be nervous. Who handles their nerves better that day will be the winner. That's the whole thing. Most of you will be able to answer these questions. Most of you will know the formulas, will know how to answer those questions. The difference comes down to nerves. Now, how do you actually get better at that? Just keep giving mocks. Know that every question you solve goes into your subconscious as a victory, that you have been able to do this. It gives you that confidence boost somewhere that, okay, I know how to do things. That from that confidence, you will be able to steady your nerves. So just keep practicing, keep backing yourself up, and just think of positive thoughts, do breathing exercises, positively work on how to bring down your pressure and anxiety and nerves on the actual exam day. Just focus on that, and you will be able to handle it on CAT day. So let's see how people have been able to do today in this particular one. So this is a normal para jumble, and I see most of you got it right. Some of you got it wrong, but that is fine. If you see the paragraph, the sentences, that's not an easy read. In fact, if you see the sentences, they are fairly difficult to read. Guys, let me know if it is lagging for any of you. Jeffrey is saying it is lagging. Just let me know if it is lagging for any of you. I'll just continue. I think it is not lagging for most of you. Okay, so the question is, does the influx of external life upon planetary life was positive and marvelous, introducing a new power upon the forming organic life in the vegetable and animal world, and working great changes in all organic structures. So that whenever a body was in direct line with the magnetic centers of the sun, the arrest of the electric current and atomic motion coming from the sun center by another magnetic center, as the earth or any other planet, would instantly change the rate of the environment of the planet magnet to a grade of intensity that would give light and heat. In this manner, light, heat and greater vital force was born upon the earth when its dark clouds lifted and its atmosphere became translucent, such that sun's electric currents could affect the earth through electric transfer. The sun, as an immense electric reservoir battery, must radiate in all directions its electric vibratory power over the surging elements in its own environment, and from thence through electric atomic transfer to bodies in space. So what exactly is being told over here? It is like a lot of details, a lot of scientific details and jargon is given. So essentially you have to boil it down to what is being said. So first is basically a conclusion. because of a certain phenomenon, organic life was possible. So this is a conclusion. As a result, organic life was possible. Okay, as a result of some phenomenon that was mentioned, organic life was possible. Second is, so whenever that a body was directly in line, so this explains how that phenomenon is working, that when this is true, this is basically what happens. Now 3 is telling that this is how it actually worked on earth. So if you see 2 and 3, basically 2 gives you the phenomenon of what happens on any planet, and 3 tells you that this essentially worked on planet earth in this way, that when its clouds became, dark clouds became translucent, then you had heat, light and greater vital force was born on earth. So you see a connection between 2 and 3. 2 tells you how it works in general for any planet around the sun, and 3 tells you how it worked for earth specifically. The starting point though is 4. 4 tells you what exactly is the base argument, that is the sun which is radiating out power. Now all the other things tell you how this power essentially reaches the planet, the mechanism of it. But the mechanism is not important. In fact, just forget it immediately. If you think of it, what is the function of each? Sun, 4 tells you what is the cause of it, or at the center of it, what is the origin of this force. 2 tells you how this force works on any planet. 3 tells you how it worked on earth, and 1 tells you as a result of this, organic life started working on earth. So if you see, the order should be 4, which introduces the topic that sun is giving out this external energy and battery radiating its vibratory power everywhere. Now whenever a body was in path of this, how it was impacted. 2, 3 together tell you how this power, light, heat and greater vital force came upon earth, and 1 tells you as a result, organic life flourished. Where did it flourish? On earth. So the order should be 4, 2, 3, 1. Okay. So posting the next question, guys. Hope you are able to answer that. I'll be trying to answer any of the questions you had about this. Sorry, we are why is 3 too long? See, basically in the last question, if you see, there was a 2 tells you how exactly if your body has to be in the magnetic direct line with the magnetic centers. So and then 3 adds in this manner. Now in this manner means that some manner has already been described. The way the phenomenon works has already been described. So where would that description be? Description is there. You can say that 4 is also having a description, but 2 has description. In fact, 2 has detailed description of how that phenomenon actually works. So 4 gives you an introductory part of how this is actually giving off power, and 2 tells you that how that power actually acts on the planet. So the power radiating out of sun, how it acts on the planet. In this manner, it acted on earth. So when you have something described in general, from general you go to specific. So from 2, which is talking about a planet in general, you go to the specific, which is the case of earth. And that is also very important, because then you can connect it with the fact that you had this life growing on earth. Now it is not something that is growing everywhere. It is growing as a direct result of this whatever was energy that was derived from the sun. So 1 is connected to 3, 2 is connected to 3. So the order should be 2, 3, 1. Okay. Is only 1 RC and 5 VA questions. Yeah, Shiva, you will be like struggling to clear the cutoff with that. It is fairly on the risky side to just do 1 RC and this. I would suggest try to do at least 2 RCs. Otherwise, you will be struggling with clearing the cutoffs. Okay, let's see how most of you have gotten even this right. So I think So most of you have gotten this right, 107 to 28. So I'm good to see that this is a easier one for you. And again, there's a reason why this is easier. The reason that why this is easier is that something that you should always do for para-jumbles, find connections. If you're able to find any connected sentences or mandatory pairs, it becomes much easier. So let's take a look at the sentences. The narrative of the film is based on the eponymous legend recounted in the Sanskrit epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. By the end, however, having pleased the gods with his actions, Harishchandra's former glory is restored. The story centers around the hero Harishchandra, a noble king, who to honor his promise to the sage Vishwamitra sacrifices his kingdom, his wife and eventually also his children. Raja Harishchandra, directed and produced by Dada Saheb Phalke, the father of Indian cinema. This 40-minute long silent film is the first full-length Indian feature, the beginning of Bollywood. There are two parts to this. One part is talking about the movie, the other part is talking about the story of Harishchandra. So which sentences are talking about the story of Harishchandra? 3 and 2. 3 tells you how the story starts, where Harishchandra has to give away his kingdom, his wife and eventually his children to honor his promise to Vishwamitra. By the end of this story, however, Harishchandra's former glory is restored. So 2, 3 together tell you the story of Harishchandra. 4 and 1 talk about the movie, and the movie is essentially on Raja Harishchandra. So essentially, where does this come about? So 4 and 1 together tell you about the movie which is on Raja Harishchandra, which was the first silent full-length feature film, Indian film, the beginning of Bollywood. And then 1 tells you, okay, this was basically based on the story that appears in Ramayana and Mahabharata, which is on Harishchandra. So you see that 4, 1 are connected, and this 1 tells you about the story of Harishchandra, which is then connected to 3, 2. So 1 is essentially a transitionary statement. 4 tells you about the movie, 1 tells you this is based on the story of Harishchandra as seen in Ramayana and Mahabharata. 3, 2 together tell you what is this story. So the order should be 4, 1, 3, 2. Easy one. I hope you guys are able to solve this, and I know that most of you would be able to solve it without any external. If you know now that when you have to recount things, put them in their logical order. 3, 2 is the logical order. It should come after 4, 1, which is basically introducing the film. Now let's go to the next question, and I hope that this is also an easy parajumble, and I hope to see most of you solve this. Not a very difficult parajumble at all. Yes, Sid, this will be saved for later. So if you go and if you've seen this on krakow.in/live, so head over to krakow.in/live. There you will see that on the actual page, you will see that above the YouTube code, there are some breadcrumbs, which is like krakow.in live sessions, etc. If you click on live sessions, all the previous live sessions are visible. So you can see not only this live session, but all the previous live sessions. And this will be saved. You can see this later also. Guys who have not liked the stream, it would mean a lot to us if you like the stream, and if you are preparing for CAT, make sure that you start taking mocks. Krakow mocks are some of the best mocks that are there. We have very reasonably priced mocks. I think we have like the first 5 mocks with video solutions for just $199. If you have not begun taking mocks, please start taking mocks. I want you to take at least 3 mocks from now till CAT now 28th November. So please make sure that you have a good source of mocks. I would believe that Krakow mocks are very good mocks because they are of the right type, right format, right difficulty level, and they come with video solutions. So you get everything as much out of it as possible. So guys, please please start taking mocks if you have not started taking mocks yet, or if you're not taking it every weekend, please start doing so. And whatever is your weak section, if you're weak in any particular section, quant, verbal, or VARC or DILR, you have to take a sectional midweek. So the ideal format should be, there should be 1 mock every weekend along with mock analysis, and midweek you should be taking the sectional. If you have not taken any mocks, you can push it up to 2 mocks a week, but don't go beyond that, because then the mocks stop having any meaning as such. Okay. Okay guys, so again this was I think not that easy, but I thought in fact this was easier than the last one, because I feel that there are very clear connections even in this particular one. So let's take a look at the sentences. Gregorius deems when he did sleep were none of the pleasantest, and when he woke up from time to time he heard his wife weeping. For in his dreams he saw his Antipe and his child starving and crying for food, and he was unable to help them in any way. He lived over again the day he had spent tramping the streets of Alexandria searching for work. In wondering what he should say to comfort her, he fell asleep again, and sleeping was worse than lying awake. Now where did this sentence come for? But in wondering what he should say to comfort her, that should come after one which is talking about his wife weeping. So you see that there is a mandatory pair of 1 and 4. He wakes up to find his wife weeping, and when he's thinking of what to say to comfort her, he falls back asleep. but sleeping was actually worse than being awake. Why? Why was sleeping worse than being awake? Because he kept having these horrible dreams. His horrible dreams, what were his horrible dreams? For in his dreams, he saw this for. For essentially many people don't know, but it is like because. So when you say for in his dreams, it's like because in his dreams he saw. Now that essentially means that it should come after the sentence which is saying that his dreams are bad. There are two sentences which tell his dreams are bad. One is one which is saying that his dreams were not the pleasantest, and 4 which is saying that his sleeping was worse than lying awake. Now which would logically be the case? If you see 3 essentially comes after 2, which is essentially describing the dream. Now 2, 3 together form a block which describe his pretty bad dreams as such. Now you can say that 2, 3 can come after 1 or 2, 3 can come after 4. But where should it come? See, 4, if you remove 4 away from 1 and you put 1, 2, 3, okay? That is a block that does make sense. But then 4 can't make sense anywhere else. You can't put it over here at the end of 3. So the only place 4 essentially can really fit is after 1. That is why you should have 1, 4, 2, 3. Because 1, 2, 3 can be after 1, it can be after 4. But if you put it after 1, 4 essentially becomes like a dangling pointer that doesn't fit anywhere else. So therefore the right order should be 1, 4, 2, 3. Okay guys, I will be going off to the next question, and let's see, now we are going on to OOC parajumbles. I want you to actually continue doing what you did with parajumbles, basically trying to find out the right order. If you get the other sentences, you have a better chance of finding the OOC parajumble. Do not try to solve the OOC parajumble just by finding the one that doesn't fit. Try to fit the other sentences. That will basically improve your accuracy quite a bit. If you just say that, okay, out of these 5, this seems kind of off, that would be a poor accuracy move. A good accuracy move is trying to actually form a coherent paragraph from the remaining sentences. That would make sure that you know exactly which is the odd one out. So let's start with the next OOC parajumble. I hope to see most of you are able, should be able to do this. So let's take a look at this particular question. No, it is 1, 4, 2, 3 upper myth. 1, 4 would be this. 4 essentially does not fit after anything other than 1. Because why should he comfort her? He comforts her because he finds her weeping. And before he is able to comfort her, he falls back asleep. So he has to comfort her when she is not starving, but when she is weeping in her sleep. So that's why 4 should come after 1. Anshul, if you are having if you are making mistakes in parajumbles, it might be bad luck, as you say that you have 2 options and you find the wrong combination. But also remember that you don't have negative marking for that. So almost always try to find out what would be the answer. Try to find try to eliminate as much as possible the wrong combinations. And if you are getting the say 2, 3 combinations, try to read them out in your mind in that particular order. So if you have say 1, 4, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4, 3, just close your mind off for a second, read 1, 2, 4, 3 in that order. Does it make sense, or there is something wrong or a false note about it? Then clear your mind again, read 1, 4, 2, 3, which one feels better. In fact, most of the times you'll get an instinctive reaction of fitting or not fitting when you read in order as such. So if you are struggling in those things, that is the best way you can actually improve your accuracy. How many questions? Okay, so a lot of people are asking questions of what is the bare minimum I should attempt to this. So instead of focusing on the bare minimum, remember you have 40 minutes, your peers have 40 minutes. I would suggest that at least do 2 RCs and VA properly if VA is your strength. If RC is your strength, at least do 3 RCs. Depending on what is your strength. Remember that for this depends entirely on how much accuracy you have. If your accuracy is on the lower side, you will actually have to be careful in what you attempt and what you leave. If your accuracy is lower, focus on improving your accuracy. RC accuracy is very key. You can read an entire RC, attempt all questions and get all of them wrong if you don't understand the RC. So invest time in understanding the RC properly and improving the RC accuracy. That in most cases either makes or breaks your VARC section. Your RC accuracy, if it is 80% and above, you will score. You will never have to worry about clearing the VARC section again. So focus on improving your RC accuracy as much as possible. So Yash is saying that, Yash, basically try to focus on understanding where you went wrong in the mock. When you have the mock, after the mock, try to see where exactly were the mistakes that were made. Whether you are taking whichever mock you're taking, analyze it completely. When you make mistakes, in fact, I feel that you have a lot more to learn than when you get everything right. Because success doesn't teach you as much as failure does. Mistakes teach you a lot more than getting things correct. So whenever you are having anything which is wrong, obsessively try to find out where that mistake is. So let's try to see how to answer this question. Very good to see that most of you got this right. And I think this is on the easier side. One argument is that actors that do not fit within a single well-defined category may suffer an illegitimacy discount. Others believe that complex identities confuse audiences about an organization's role or purpose. Some organizations have complex and multidimensional identities that span or combine categories, while other organizations possess narrow identities. Identity is one of the most important features of organizations, but there exist opposing views among sociologists about how identity affects organizational performance. Those who think that complex identities are beneficial point to the strategic advantages of ambiguity and organizations' potential to differentiate themselves from competitors. So if you see over here, what exactly is being said? Most of the sentences are talking about how identity, organizational identity works. And I see a very clear pair over here. There are those who think that complex identities are beneficial, but others who think that complex identities confuse audiences. So there's a this pair between 5 and 2. Those who think that complex identities actually help, are strategically advantageous, and others who feel that they confuse audiences. Now my paragraph, once I find a mandatory pair, I know that it is going to be definitely part of the paragraph. So the other sentences should also be about this particular topic. Where is the topic of organizational identity essentially introduced? It is introduced in 4. 4 talks about how identity is an important feature, and 3 basically says that it is a feature that some have complex multidimensional identities while others have narrow identities. So 4 and 3 together introduce about organizational identities and how they can be complex or narrow, and then 5 and 2 tell you that there are differing thoughts about what is advantageous. So this, if you see, all is about organizational identity. Look at 1. 1 is about actors, well-defined category and illegitimacy discount. None of that, if you consider the key points of that one sentence, does it tie in with any of the other sentences in any way? None of that is actually connected to the other sentences in any way. So because of the fact that this is completely tangential to the discussion, it is easy to spot that that was the odd one out. So in this particular case, the odd one out is sentence 1. An easy spot if you see that it is in no way talking about anything that the other sentences are talking about. Okay, let's take a look at the next question. I hope that the streak continues. I hope you guys are able to get this one also, right? Okay. I'm okay. So working on, okay. So Ratul, I know that you have been very regular in all of these streams, and I can see the improvement also. So keep at it. See, remember that even I didn't clear in the first attempt. Many of us, Maruti didn't clear in the first attempt. Many of the people who actually went into IIM attempt. It is important to learn from every setback and to take it as an advantage. If you had 4 setbacks, you have a lot to learn from. Every mock, every low mock score, that is a lesson. You have to take it positively, and I'm very glad to see that you are taking it positively. And I know that you have been very sincere this year, so I hope that all of that will shape you and you can crack this year. Just keep at it. Don't back yourself. I know that if you have been so sincere and diligent this year, you will have it in you to actually crack it this time. Okay, so we have it need not be the Shruti, it's a good the observation that it had one argument and not the other, but it could also be that sometimes only it's like the last sentence as such. But as you said, that's a good spot actually. If you have one argument but not the other, then you can say that, okay, the only one argument is given, that's kind of odd. So definitely that is something that should be a this for you. Now, there is no no good way of solving this. If you have a hack to solve it, even that is fine. But I remember hacks are not 100% right all the time. There might be some one-off case when like one argument would be given because it's the last part of the sentence, and after that you have the second argument given, but the paragraph is cut off there. But that is fine, I think. Even if you are using that, it's fine. So let's take a look at this. Again, most of you got it right, and very good to see that most of you got it right. And a lot of people who have gotten all the questions right, so very good. Those who have gotten most of these right, those who have gotten 7 right also, fairly well done. Most of you, I feel, are at the very stage where you have been able to get VARC right. If just keep at it. If this is your strength, make sure you attempt every single question from VA. Keep an idea of how much your accuracy rate is in this test. If your accuracy rate is above 70%, make sure that you attempt everything from VA. So let's take a look at the sentences. Much has been recently discovered about the development of songs in birds. Some species are restricted to a single song learned by all individuals. Others have a range of songs. The most important auditory stimuli for the birds are the sounds of other birds. For all bird species, there is a prescribed path to the development of the final song. A bird begins with the sub-song, passes through the plastic song until it achieves the species song. I actually remember this question because when I took it in the live mock, I had like 10 seconds left and I just put something and I don't think I put in the right answer because there was no time to think. And this happens to a lot of us where by the time you reach OOC Jumbles, you have just absolutely no time to think. But if you take a minute to think, okay, it's very obvious that there are some sentences which are connected. There is a prescribed path for the development of the final song. You look at 5, it tells you what that path is. The path is from the sub-song to the plastic song, from the plastic song to the species song. And where exactly is this entire thing introduced? So you see, one is an introductory sentence, okay? It tells you that much has been discovered about the development of songs in birds. There is a prescribed path how this song develops. So you see 1, 4, 5 together. 1 gives you an introductory part. 4 and 5 are clearly a pair. 4 and 5 tell you the path of how this develops. 2 then tells you that, okay, maybe one song develops or some have a range of songs. So all of these tell you about the song of the species and how it develops. 3 tells you about the important auditory stimuli for other sounds of other birds. But what is it a stimuli for? Is it a stimuli for the producing of the song? For the development of the song? The topic of development of the song is never mentioned over here, and neither does this fit anywhere in any of the other sentences. So fine, it is an important auditory stimuli, but how does it impact their behavior? How does it impact the development of the song? Does any other sentence tie this with the other sentences? No, it doesn't. It is completely different. The other sentences tie in properly together to tell you how the species song develops or the multiple species song develops. This tells you only about auditory stimuli, where the output of that is never mentioned. So 3 is the odd one out. Okay. So last question, and I hope all of you get that right. Don't worry if you got this wrong. I also got that wrong in actual CAT. I remember I didn't get this right because again I had like 10 seconds and I just picked something, whatever I could to actually answer that this. But if you look at it now, if you understand the heart of the paragraph, it is easier for you to find out that this doesn't fit. If you just look at words, it's difficult to find out which one doesn't work because sounds and song seems close enough. They don't seem completely out of context. But if you understand the meaning of the paragraph, then sound is out of context. Okay guys, last thing that I would like to say, those who have started taking mocks, please take Kraku mocks. We have 5 mocks I think for 199 with video solutions, and we have mocks plus sectional package also I think for 299. If you have not started taking mocks, please take mocks, at least 1 mock every week, and in between the week, whatever is your week section, please take sectionals for that. it is very, very important that you start taking mocks seriously, and every mock analyze it very, very intensely. There are some people who have poor mock scores, low mock scores. I would say that is actually a good thing, because it tells you the areas where you take too much time to solve, areas that you are not very comfortable in. If you have a problem solving VA questions, if you have a problem solving some RCs, you know immediately at the end of the mock that, okay, I couldn't actually solve it. So maybe it's a problem area, I should look at it. Every mock should tell you, don't take the mock score that this is my CAT score. Your mock score is not your CAT score, right? Your mock score does not reflect your CAT score. What your mock score reflects is what are the problem areas. That is it. You have to just fix the problems that are identified by the mocks. So just focus on that, work on that. You have the last 15 days to essentially fix any problems that you have in your CAT attempt before November 20th. So let's take a look at this. Most of the guys got this wrong, but I think this was because the sentences were very, very long. It is not difficult. The sentences are just unbelievably long, which is why many people lose track of what is being said. So let's take a look at the sentences. Chinese Buddhist scholars did no less than Indian teachers towards the uprising of Zen. After its introduction into China in the 6th century AD, it grew ascendant through the Sui and Tang dynasty and enjoyed greater popularity than any other sect of Buddhism during the whole period of the Sung and the Southern Sung dynasty. In these times, its commanding influence became so irresistible that Confucianism, assimilating the Buddhist teachings, especially those of Zen, into itself and changing its entire aspect, brought forth the so-called speculative philosophy. The historical importance of Zen can hardly be exaggerated. In the Ming dynasty, the principal doctrines of Zen were adopted by a celebrated Confucian scholar, Wang Yang-ming, who thereby founded a school through which Zen exercised profound influence on Chinese and Japanese men of letters, statesmen and soldiers. So a lot of detail is given and details throw you off. So try to eliminate the details, just go to the heart of what that sentence says. So Chinese Buddhist scholars along with Indian scholars helped towards uprising of Zen. After introduction into China, it grew with the spread of two specific dynasties. The impact or influence was so this that even Confucianism adapted some parts of it internally, especially the concept of Zen. Historical importance of Zen can hardly be exaggerated. And then an example of given of a Confucian scholar who essentially founded a school which essentially bolstered the idea of Zen. So if you see, 3 and 5 are connected. 3 says that Confucianism absorbed the concept of Zen, and 5 tells you a Confucian scholar who actually founded a school in which Zen was taught. So if you see 3 and 5, if you take the whittled down versions of it, the concise versions of it, you see that these two are basic simple sentences indicating how the Buddhism was so influential that in fact the concept of Zen, or rather not Buddhism, concept of Zen was so influential that it became absorbed into Confucianism, and there was a school founded where it was taught by a Confucian scholar. So essentially where it had profound influence. So 3 and 5 tell you the importance or influence of Zen. Now where is that topic essentially introduced? It is essentially introduced in 4, and 4 tells you it is historical importance can hardly be exaggerated, and then you have 2 which tells you about the introduction in China. 3 and 5 come much later. That is where it impacted other religions. So its introduction in China should come first. So 4 should be followed by 2. Then how it was absorbed by other religions. So together this tells you how Zen had such profound influence. Remove all the unnecessary details. Just at the core of it, what is it? It's the impact of Zen to China and to even other religions in China and Japan. But what does 1 basically tell you about? 1 tells you about a contribution of 2 different sets of teachers to the uprising of Zen. Now the remaining sentences about how this philosophy became a very influential philosophy. 1 talks about who helped in its uprising. That's a very different topic than the remaining sentences. So the odd one out is 1. 4, 2, 3, 5 tell you about the influence of Zen. 1 tells you about who helped in its uprising. So 1 is the odd one out. Okay, so guys, this was it, and very, very thank you a lot for whoever actually joined us. I hope you guys are still able to see me. I see that some people are saying about it buffering. I hope you guys are able to see me. But nonetheless, I thank you very much for everybody who attended, and thank you for all your this. I hope all of you who are able to do very well today continue to do this and are able to crack the VA section in actual CAT. So good to see all of you guys, and thank you for joining us, and best of luck for and make the best use of the remaining 15 days. Thank you guys.